Hello, my name is Mike, and welcome to a build overview for my Archmage Ice Nova Frostbolts Hierophant. I'm sure if you've been on Reddit this last week or have really been paying attention to any content creators for Path of Exile, you've probably heard or seen this build. This is kind of the build of the league. Everybody's been playing it. There's a couple variations. There's a Katava's Thirst version, which is what I am playing. There's a self-cast version. There's a Ball Lightning version. The idea is you're a Archmage build, so you're stacking as much mana as you can, and you're dealing a shitload of damage. This character is level 89, almost to 90. It's named Can't See Shits because you can't see shit when you're playing this build. Doing pretty decent. I am lacking quite a bit of defenses. I do need to fix that. This is the second build I played this league. I guess I should mention, yes, I am in softcore trade, but I do play solo self-found style. I just play in the normal trade league because I have a friend of mine that likes to run maps with me. But I don't buy or trade with other players normally, so keep that in mind when I show you my gear here. So, starting off, a staple of the build is going to be Katava's Thirst. Now, like I said, there's two versions of this build. There's the Katava's Thirst version, and there's a self-cast version. Basically, what this says is when you when you cast a spell, there's a 50% chance you trigger a socketed spell. Because we're an Archmage build and we have so much freaking mana and so much cast speed, this happens pretty much every, 1 to 2 casts. Something else that I am personally using is a Sappho's Frame for the +4 all max res. That's why, if you noticed, I'm at 80 all res, is the Sappho's Frame. You'd probably be realistically better if you just had a good rare shield, because of the block chance. Or the attack block. With Sappho's Frame, you can't actually block attacks. So, yeah, that's why I do have a little bit of armor and a little bit of evasion, just trying to mitigate the fact that I can't block attacks. Going over the rest of the gear, the scepter, nothing special. I dropped this on the ground. It had % lightning damage with increased spell damage. I crafted attack speed on it, and that's my scepter. Realistically, you would want something with flat lightning, % lightning, and probably T1 cast speed, or hybrid, and then craft on the cast speed. If you could get a fractured scepter with fractured T1 cast speed, that would be kind of the go-to. Katava's Thirst already talked about. Sappho's already talked about. My amulet, I need strength and dex really bad in this build because of the gems we run. So that's kind of what this is. It's a stat amulet basically. My right ring, I dropped this. It's got good cold, good lightning res. I don't need it to be an unset ring. As you can see, I got plenty of sockets open. It's just there's a portal gem in here because my other ring is a Valakos sign, because even though we are a cold spell, we are doing a lot of lightning damage. And this just gives even more lightning damage. It gives leech against shocked enemies and a shock chance. I think there's quite a few versions of this build that do run Valakos. And it's a pretty cheap unique if you're buying it in trade. None of this is going to be expensive. I think a Katava's is a couple C. This is probably a couple C. And, I mean, you can get a perfect rolled Sappho's for 20 C. With a good corrupt if you really want. Body armor. I just have a Destroyer Regalia with a little bit of res on it and some life. Realistically, I'm trying to link a Beast Fur Shell that I dropped that I just can't link. I've dumped probably 1,000 fusings into this thing already and it will not link, but this is kind of my in-game body armor. It's a lot of spell damage, a lot of energy shield, and a decent amount of AoE. Next, we have my gloves. My gloves are very nice. I crafted these. These are so cool. It's triple res with T5 life, and then I crafted T3 mana onto them. My boots are life, movement speed, and res. I needed the dex on these. Again, we're so dex starved on this build. Belt, again, dexterity, and that's pretty much all that's on this belt is the dexterity. Yeah, this is a terrible belt. So going over gem links, I'm running Lightning Golem with Inspiration. Mainly because Inspiration, this is my 6th link in my body armor, and I'm just leveling the gem. In my Katava's Thirst, I have a Frostbolt, GMP returning projectiles, and a Punishment. You could also run another curse if you anoint Whispers of Doom. You could run double curses. That would be super nice. In my shield, I'm running Arrogance with Clarity. You do not want to reserve any of your mana on this build. So everything else you have to reserve through life if you're going to. Clarity, it's more mana regen. Because, again, how fast the cast speed is, you need as much mana regen as you can get. Portal, already talked about. My main link is Ice Nova Frostbolts. Realistically, you want the Val version of this. Archmage support, Spell Echo. You want to Awaken Spell Echo if you can. Lightning Pin, Intensify, and then Inspiration would be your 6th link. If you instead want to run a staff on this build, which is not hard to swap over to a staff build, and you could get a Pledge of Hands, which gives socketed gems are supported by greater Spell Echo, that would be awesome for this build. Next, I have Eternal Blessing linked to Wrath. Eternal Blessing, again, doesn't let you, or it makes it so you don't have to reserve mana, but you can only have one aura. I got a Flame Dash, and then my boots are Arcane Cloak, Arcane Surge, a More Duration, and an Automation. Automation just means that you don't have to press this, and it just casts whenever the CDR's, or whenever the cooldown's done. And the reason that we're running Arcane Surge is because of our Ascendancy. We are buffing our Arcane Surge all to hell. As far as Ascendancy goes, you want Divine Guidance for the mana. Sanctuary of Thought, again, for mana. And mana is extra ES. It also gives you 1% increased AoE. Up to 100%. And because we don't reserve any mana, we always have that 100%. And then you're going to run Conviction of Power, which gives you 4 endurance, 4 power charges permanently. The rest of the tree, you're kind of all over the place with this build. And I've looked at a couple other path of buildings on this, and they all kind of take the same general route. It just depends on if you're going evasion based, you're going to go down here more. You're not going to take the block nodes. You're going to go over here a little more as well. And then if you're taking the block version like I am, you're going to go over and take all of the block nodes. The rest of the tree is pretty simple. It's mana nodes and spell, and that's pretty much it. As far as jewels go, I've just been putting jewels in as I get them. So here's one, and here's another. Eventually I'll take this jewel socket. And that's pretty much it for the passive tree. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you are going to play the staff version, you basically take out your shield nodes, and then you're going to swap those into here, and here, and here. So, I guess the next thing I will show you is going through a map, and you will pretty quickly here see why I named this build this. I've been a huge fan of the whole Frostbolt Ice Nova thing since back in the days of Cast on Crit. I used to have a Cast on Crit Cospri's Malice build that used Ice Nova Frostbolts, and I kind of fell in love with it. So I do want to show you, first of all, is I want to take the MTXs off. So this is what the build normally looks like without MTXs. And then I personally have the Celestial Ice Nova and the Black Hole Frostbolts. And then it turns into this Eye Bleed shit here, which I'm sure is what if you've, again, looked on Reddit or watched any real content on this league, this is probably what you've seen in the videos, is people running around with this kind of shit and just spamming Frostbolts everywhere. The build is not really tanky in the current form that I have it in, but the damage is there. Wow, I dropped an Empower. Oh, it's a corrupted Empower, though, because it came out of a corrupted Strongbox. That's rough. But yeah, you can see, and the cool thing about the Ice Nova coming off of your Frostbolts is that it overlaps. So you get a lot of damage from it. You can see I can kind of just stand here, and with the returning projectiles, everything is coming back, so you're getting just screen-wide overlaps, and it is a really, really good mapping build, even though you're a self-cast build. It's really, really good. It reminds me a lot of the old cast on crit cause priest builds, which is the original reason why I bought these MTXs back in the day. Was I played the hell out of that build and really, really liked the Celestial MTXs. Let me see, what did we drop? Oh, a Dream Mace. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and let's go find the boss. Ooh, here's a Breach. Breach and Harbinger. This build is very good for anything that has a lot of enemies. So, Legion. This build is amazing at clearing Legions. Same for Breach and Harbinger. You can see I can kind of just walk around in a circle, tapping my Ice Nova button, and the overlap is just going to nuke the screen. So if we go ahead and hit this Breach. I have noticed too, something that is kind of annoying about this build is the Kitava's Thirst doesn't always trigger. And so you kind of are just standing there casting Ice Novas at your feet, which is not what you want, because you're losing a lot of damage. Or you get a case like this where you're casting, but it's casting off of Frostbolts that are over here, and your enemies are right here. But again, that could be, I don't think that's like the build's fault necessarily. I think that's my version of the build is not 100% on that part. And you can see, like, you can't really face tank a lot because we don't have that large of a life pool. But the damage itself is definitely there. And that was pretty decent map, I think, for the showcase. So anyway, hopefully you guys did enjoy. I'm sure, like I said, there's tons of versions of this build out there if you are looking for one. But I have been Mike, and I will see you guys in the next build video. Have a wonderful day.